Well, what's up, everyone? We're
We're
doing
back.
we're doing this again. It's Bryan Hour along with Jason Harper. Uh,
Hello,
this is
hello.
this is Keep It Current, a real estate show. Each week, we do our best to provide actionable content to help real estate professionals do better. I mean, that's the whole point, right? Today, we're going to give 5 ways to get more real estate listings, and if that sounds even remotely interesting to you, then I think you need to stick around because we have a lot to cover. It is great to be back with you, Jason. We are we're about ready to pump it up with some good info on how to get listings. Last week was phenomenal. We talked about 5 ways to get your offer accepted. And I don't know about you, but my whole team has been employing those techniques literally all week for the last several weeks.
Good.
And we have more in escrow right now than we've had in a very long time. Those techniques work. If you missed last week's show, you have to go and check it out. 5 ways to improve your chances of getting your offer accepted. What about you, Jason? You're doing those, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And as we dive into these, these are between the two of us and whatnot. We're also doing, I would hope we're practicing what we preach.
Definitely. Well, it's sort of for us. I mean, these are things that we're doing, and it's helping us be very successful at what we do. It's not things we hope work. These are things that actually work. So anyway, I say we just dive right into it because time is important here. I don't want to milk it too much, but I'll start with the first one.
Okay.
This is something that to me is absolutely awesome. I think everyone has already been told and has heard time and time again, video. You got to be doing video. So I'm just going to assume that we're all doing video. If you're not, you should check out one of our other shows that talks about the importance of video. Yeah. It is so incredible how much more impact that has. Even though a lot of agents are now doing video, there's a lot of things you can do to differentiate yourself with, using video properly. And one of those ways is not so much with Facebook and Instagram and other platforms like that, YouTube, but email. Email is not dead, you guys. And it can be a very, very effective tool. And when you combine email and video, people open them up. The open rate, the click-through rate is way, way better. So this first technique has to do with sending an actual CMA, a market analysis, to your clients that have been in their home at least 2 years ish. And if you're keeping track of your database, you know who your clients are that have been in their home for about 2 years. Send them a pre-recorded CMA. So instead of just calling them up or sending them something that just sort of automated that says, here's what your house is worth, check it out, look what the market's doing. You actually send them a very personalized, hey, Fred, it's been about 2 years. Check out what's happening in your market. And you go through and you record your screen and you upload it into either BombBomb or KVCore or Loom. And you send your video via email to those people in your database that fit that category. So hey, should I just show them a sample, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, show them what you showed me, because I actually learned from, and this is part of what's cool about this, is I actually learned something while you were just kind of showing me and preparing. So
yeah, I literally recorded this to show everyone how easy this is, so that you're not overthinking it, so that this can remain an actionable content, right? That you're not freaked out about and want to do. If you know how to operate a Zoom call, then you can do this. Let me just push play on this. Okay, so obviously I recorded this earlier for the show today, but I wanted you to see how incredibly easy this is. This is a Zoom call that I'm doing with myself, and I'm recording it to my computer. I'm literally queued up and ready to share my screen, which I will do right now. it is going to be the CMA, the comparative market analysis, that I already prepared. Took me minutes to do. I'm going to scroll through. I'm going to talk to my client, John Smith. I'm going to put this whole presentation together, make it no more than 2 minutes. I'm going to show him the comparables. We're going to talk about some of these listings that he's probably already familiar with. We're going to talk about what they sold for. We're going to remind him what his home sold for about 2 years ago. We're going to go through some of the details of how these homes look and feel compared to him. So driving home the fact that these are relevant comparables, right? We're going to comment on some of these things. You want to stay nice and brief, go through all of the stats at the end of your CMA so that you can talk really briefly on maybe square footage price being $515 a square foot. Remember when we bought your home 2 years ago, it was only $290 a square foot, or whatever the numbers would be. Talk about the pending listings, get to the very end. You can literally stop the share and just finish by saying, listen, I know you may not be ready to sell right now, but I promised you that I would be your realtor for life. And that means providing constant value to you. I want you to know that your home has really gone up in value. Not saying you have to sell now, but maybe you know somebody that is going to sell and can benefit from this type of information. At the end of the day, I just want you to know that I'm here for you. I want to provide a lot of value for you. And if you have any questions on this comparative market analysis, please feel free to reach out. All right. Thanks so much. So that's basically it. I went into my Zoom. I hit screen record. I hit share. I went onto my computer where I already had the CMA saved, and I just went through it. And so you're going to do that, and you're going to upload that. It takes seconds to upload that file into BombBomb or into kvCORE, and you're sending these one-off custom CMAs to your database, your past clients, and challenge yourself to do 3 a day. You can probably do that in 20 minutes altogether. 3 a day. You watch what happens.
Question: how often are you going to do that? Are you going to do it quarterly, twice a year?
That's a great question. It depends how big your database is. I mean, if you're doing 3 a day and you have a huge database, then you got to do it every day, and you're gonna hit your database accordingly.
Right.
And we all have our cheerleader database clients that we just know are just, even if no matter what you send them, they're going to watch it because they know you, they like you, they trust you. You have built great rapport. You're running into them at restaurants, and they're always cheerleading for you.
Yep. Those
are the ones that you want to send these to, because it's not about sending it to a client that's going to just all of a sudden go, "Hey, I like that video. I'm going to sell my house tomorrow." It's going to be them going, "Man, my agent is so on top of it. I need to give him my neighbor's number because I just heard they were thinking about selling." It's that kind of thing. It really can drum up, additional business. So, I think honestly, I think you can overthink it and probably try to make it even nicer and really fluffy. But I encourage you to keep it very organic. If you make a mistake during your presentation and you're recording it and you say too many times, or you say the wrong word, correct yourself, laugh about it, move on. You're not trying to create something that's really, really polished, because it'll come across as something that's not so evergreen. Well, here's another hack too. If you're using BombBomb, or if you're using kvCORE or Loom and you're sending out video via email, you can select what thumbnail you use for those videos, go to Google Earth and screenshot a picture of their house, and let that be the thumbnail. So when the email comes and says, "Check out what's happening in your market, I have prepared a custom CMA for you," whatever your tagline is there, they're going to see a picture of their house in that email with a play button, so they know it's a video about their house. And I'm telling you, the click-through rate, the open rates are pretty high when you do that. So awesome. If you need a little bit of help with that, if you want to reach out to me and just maybe just a quick, we can do a Zoom call together and I can show you how I do it and maybe how you can do it. My email's right there. Just reach out to me, write it down. I'm happy to give you just a free tutorial on how to do it. So not afraid at all to take time and invest it back into, agents in my community or wherever you're watching, whether you're listening on, actually, good point. You might be listening to this on a podcast right now. So it's just, if you are, my email is in the link below. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the email's in the link below. If you're watching this live on Facebook, then there you have my email right there too. So don't be afraid to reach out. The second thing is something that we're probably not going to blow your mind with. I mean, a lot of people might have already started doing this, but when we started incorporating this again, and when I started listening to people who were trying to go after, any type of niche market to get more listings, this one kept coming up and coming up. A lot of mastermind groups that I'm in, a lot of people are doing this right now. They're going after the non-owner occupied properties, and you can get a list of those by reaching out to your title rep. I mean, we all as agents have a title rep that we have been using or we know, and they have all kinds of tools and tricks and all kinds of stuff. If you said, "Hey, I would really like a list of non-owner occupied owners, in this particular tract or in this region, an area that's your farm or an area that has a lot of, the occupancy ratio is really out of whack because there's a lot of, owners who are renting out their properties. They might not be totally aware of what the market's really doing. And so if you were to get a list from, Property Radar or your title rep, what have you, you can put all those contacts into your CRM, and you can go back to number one and start sending them videos or maybe letters, phone calls. Put them in your CRM, start dripping on them, letting them know that the market is on fire. But your message in that case really has to be more along the lines of, the market's way up, but call us, get a hold of me so I can help you review your options. That's the goal there. It's not, hey, I want to sell your house, use me because I'm the best in town. It's just, hey, let's review your options, because it's got to be a little softer sell at that. Let's talk about how much your home has gone up in value. Let's review your options, and then when you're discussing those options with them, it's going to be things like, you can sell your house with the tenant in place. It does happen. You can sell your house as is. I mean, they're thinking about easy ways to sell their home and capitalize on the market. They probably don't even realize that it might make more sense for them to buy out the tenant. I mean, literally buy out the contract. If they have 6 months left and they're paying $2,000 a month, that's, hey, I'll give you 15 grand to get out early, because right now the market's up, 20%. And on a $500,000 house, that's, do the math on that. It makes more sense to, buy out the lease. That makes sense, right, Jason?
It does. And when you consider the amount of, across the country with a lot of eviction moratoriums and people not paying rent, I think,
Yep.
I would have to imagine, I don't have a number, I'm not going to make one up, but how many homeowners that are not occupying a property that, they've been so focused on the fact that they're not getting rent that they may not be aware of how much not only they're sitting on, but also, like we just said, options to sell with the tenant. And not only that, you have tenants in homes that have been sitting, and with that kind of coming to an end, that also might be a huge benefit for them to know that, hey, I might only have 60 to 90 days where I'm not paying anymore, and they're willing to help me relocate. It's a solution for both sides. And so that might even be another good angle is, hey, we have a solution for you and the tenant. It just might be a whole nother angle. But I think that right there, I think that is a gold mine of potential business.
For sure. So let's go into, and again, if you at any point, if you have questions about these or you want to dive deeper into any of these with us, you can easily reach out to us.
Before I tackle number 3, I just want to say those were really cool, because as we talked about before this, we didn't share with each other what the other person was bringing to the table. So those were both cool because I literally wrote down notes as you were talking about.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Certain items that we need to implement.
Also, and if you don't like anything we're saying, you can send all your hate mail to the email below. If you really want to go and really wax eloquently on how great the content is here, you can go ahead and send me an email here. So just kidding. I'm messing with you.
No, I love hate mail. I deal with it really well. I usually just block and delete. It's perfect. Yeah. Okay. So I'll tackle this one, door knocking, a track where your buyers missed out. And we were talking about this one. So I think there's a couple angles. Some of them are kind of old school that maybe people haven't, the market's been crazy busy. We've been, running around either with, listings that are, getting 50 offers, trying to negotiate those, or running around with buyers. So, it kind of goes back to, it's very similar to kind of circle prospecting. You take a listing in the neighborhood. It's, you make your phone calls, you do your, your door knocking, and you do your mailers. But we've had obviously a massive inventory issue. And so it's been tough on buyers. I mean, it's been really hard on buyers. And so, one thing to do is, get into the neighborhood where your buyer has been actively writing offers. I mean, most buyers are not writing offers over 5 cities. It's usually, hey, we're looking to be in a school district, or then, 1, 2, maybe 3 tracks where they can, afford it, and it's close to family, whatever it might be. Get into those neighborhoods, bring offers that you've written on properties that haven't been accepted. Put, an inexpensive little package or letter together you can drop off or door knock and say, hey, our buyer just wrote an offer. I've enclosed, a little bit of detail on it. The house down the street, they didn't get it. We were up against 40 people, they would love a house in your neighborhood, and let them know, hey, that house was listed for X amount and we offered, this much more. This is a good buyer, a serious buyer. Here's the thing, either you're going to get your buyer into that property, or they're not going to have interest, but you've now met somebody who's interested in selling their house at a certain price. So one thing we do is, and this has kind of evolved, is every listing, coming soon letter. We do a custom letter, which, again, that same hate mail email, if you want a copy of this, you can email me for a copy. But in your track, do your coming soon letter. It's a very nice, very inexpensive mailer you send out. Let the neighborhood know when you've listed, when you're in escrow, and then of course when you've sold, and the stats on that. The other thing you can do with this letter too is, for those of you running a team or buyer specialist, again, you can modify this to get into the neighborhoods. I would recommend you sit down and write out every buyer you have, every neighborhood they want to be in, and put together this letter with details on what you've been offering on. Use street names, use addresses if you have to. Make it real for the homeowner so they understand this is a legitimate buyer who's writing good offers. There's just not enough for them to buy.
And how many letters are you sending out in that situation?
Yeah, so with a listing, it just depends on, like if the community has 500 homes, we'll do 500 of them. You can do a lot of communities will have multiple little subdivisions. So, if you get into a community like that, it might just be that immediate subdivision, which can be 100, 200 homes. It's a little bit of an investment, but it kind of brings people along through the journey. The other thing to keep in mind when you send that sold letter out is you're in this market, your listing probably had a lot of offers. So when you send out that sold, it doesn't hurt to let the neighborhood know that, hey, we had 35 offers. Obviously, only one bought the house. We're sitting on 34 people, of which 25 wrote over this number. If you're interested, let's see what we think we can get for your house so we can go back to this database, sell your house fast, easy, and forget top dollar. ridiculous dollar amount.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Well, and let's just say that there's agents that are listening right now that don't have the finances to send out 100, 200, 300 letters or postcards. Letters really are more effective in this strategy. What about just keeping it really hyper local? So let's say your offer wrote a compelling offer. Your buyer wrote a compelling offer on a home. They didn't get their offer accepted. And let's just say it was, listed at 450. You wrote it for 510. You still didn't get it. You as an agent can take that offer and you can take their proof of funds and you can take a nice letter that they wrote about how much they want to be in that neighborhood. And you can just go 5 houses to the right, 5 houses to the left, and the 10 across the street. And you just picked up 20 houses where you're door knocking and you have an actual real story to tell. Here is the offer that my buyer wrote. Here's their proof of funds. Here's their letter explaining what a great agent I am, going to look at these, go and knock on doors. That can be a very powerful strategy too. Just keep it simple. Just do that every time. Because look, that's still going to be a lot of work and you're still going to hit a lot of homes, because the fact of the matter is that buyer is probably writing on a lot of homes. They're going to do that 10 times. So that's still 100 door knocks. And people, I'm telling you, COVID is pretty much, now that there has not been hardly any door knocking going on. And with the whole COVID-19 thing kind of really, petering out, thank goodness, people aren't so freaked out to have a stranger knock on their door, especially when you have paperwork and you're just like, hey, is there any way you can help me out? Or do you know anyone that can help my buyer? You're showing that you're an incredible agent and you're potentially drumming up a nice listing.
Yeah. And that's actually a good approach. Maybe not make it about their house, but our poor buyers wrote this amazing offer. Do you know anybody else around here that might be talking about selling?
Exactly.
But, I think all those things work. Again, if you do, want to spend, and we do it very inexpensively, I can tell people how we do it. Again, just I'll send a copy and pretty much the whole system. It's actually really inexpensive. So cool. There's that email again.
Yep.
Yeah. So number 3, that was number 3. Yeah. The next one. So before I dive into kind of how we use HomeBot, if you haven't used HomeBot or don't know what HomeBot is, it's basically an app. It has an algorithm that you put your database into it. It more or less tracks their home value, and it kind of determines whether they, this robot feels it has gone up or if it's gone down. So it reports to the clients on an ongoing basis, kind of what's happening in terms of their value. But the other cool thing it does is it also identifies what the last time they took a mortgage or did a refi, what their interest rate is. So it'll alert you and say, hey, Bryan, it looks like your home value's gone up 11%. Looks like you're at a 3.75% interest rate. And, today you can get 0.5%. Just teasing. But it's a neat tool. But what we have started to do, and we did this purely by accident, just because we were going through, and I'll be honest, it's not always accurate. You have to view this tool as more of a talking point. I think there's as much value as going in and saying, hey, this value isn't right, and actually reaching out to your client and saying, hey, I know you got that email alert that your house is worth $300,000. We actually think that's a little low and it's probably worth $335,000.
Yeah.
But what we've started to do, and anybody who's using this or anybody who picks it up, it's $25 a month, super inexpensive.
Oh, that's not bad.
Get in there and look at what's being sent to your client. You can manually update their home value. And then now that you're talking about doing these recorded videos, it might even be a good idea while you're updating that home value to go in and record your screen and say, hey, check it out. HomeBot says your house is worth X amount. We actually think it's worth this. So we just updated it. We're going to shoot you a text as well and let you know. But we're going through and we are manually updating every past client that's in there. And if we're seeing a big variance in what's being reported to them versus what we feel a home is worth, we're reaching out to those people.
So cool. And as you say, even if the value is wrong, it gives you a great excuse to reach out and say, hey, Did you see how bad our robot did on the value of your home? Check
Yeah.
this out. I love it. Any excuse to reach out to them is it's a good one.
And it's also really good. Again, most of us work with a preferred lender. So it's also a good way to drive business to them. Again, if you see that you can save that client, if their interest rate is half a point higher than it should be, you need to let them know.
Yeah.
And you need to get them to your lender, because, you also might find out they're going to refi now because they're gearing up to move in the next 6 to 12 months, and they need to do something with that cash that they're going to pull out. So it's kind of another way where, you get that lender business and you kind of figure out what their game plan is.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to pull money and they're going to buy an investment home somewhere else. Great. Now you can get a referral going with another agent where you can make 25, 30% on that transaction. It just has so many different things, if you use it properly, that you can leverage into helping your client, but also doing more business.
Very cool. So HomeBot, $25 a month, a great tool in order to get more listings. So let's talk about number 5 for a second. And this is the 5th and final. I'm going to give a little bonus at the end of this, but I think it's really important to connect and network with the agents that are working at the new builds. If you go and you are working with buyers in new builds right now, you will find that most of them are referring. Let me start over. If a buyer wants to buy a new build and they have a home to sell, the last thing the builder wants to do is have it be a long, drawn out process. So they're basically referring most buyers to iBuyer platforms, where Jason, what's an example of a?
Yeah, Open Door is huge with new builds.
Oh my gosh! So you go there and you'll even see paperwork and pamphlets and things like that, advertisements for Open Door. They're encouraging the buyers to come in, just use Open Door. They'll give you a cash offer on your house, and you can get in here and you can buy your new build, right? Well, a lot of buyers are pretty savvy. They know that Open Door is giving you cash for your home so that they can sell your home on the traditional market and mark it up and basically flip your house. So there's no need to use Open Door and those alternative platforms when the market is as hot as it is. So if you are an agent that has a really good listing presentation and you have an incredible, unique selling proposition, and you know how to formulate that and put it into an elevator speech that is, very concrete, sequential, and very easy to understand, and you approach an agent that's at a new build and you explain to them, look, if you have buyers that need to sell their home, we can do this. We can save them this. We can do this. Oh, and by the way, here's my website that says everything about it. And we're going to do it at a discount so that they end up with more money in their pocket. And you just have all these things. If you start a local campaign when you go out there, they will throw you some business. I mean, they have their people on, that are on staff that are kind of like their go-tos. But I mean, you can easily get business, and depending on where you are in the country too. In California, the builders are just these huge conglomerates, so it's a little tougher. But there's a lot of places around the country where the builders are a little smaller, and they're a little more down home, and you have more of an opportunity to get in with those agents to do it. So I say connect and network with those agents at the new build, because you can get teed up for some good listings. What are your thoughts on that, Jason?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell you firsthand, we lost one in that situation, and I thought we lost it to an Open Door or Zillow offers, and that wasn't the case at all. The salesperson in the new build just referred these people to people we had been talking with that were referred to us, to an agent that she knew. And if you look at the solution that an Open Door or an iBuyer presents to a new build client, it's not more money. It's they know what they can expect. They know if all the builder cares about is opening a phase, clearing a phase, right? That's all. So what an open door does for them is it solves an issue, and that is, we want to sell our house to you, but you have a home to sell. So really, the name of the game is problem solving for the builder. It's not that they're
it only helps the builder, not the buyer.
Yeah, exactly. And so going back to what you were talking about, the presentation or an elevator speech, that you need to view it as kind of like a corporate presentation. Here's the issue. Here's our solution. And when you refer us, we're going to meet with that homeowner on behalf kind of the builder and really lay out what the builder's timeline and expectations are. And this is when we need to list your home by, and this is what we need to do.
Right.
It kind of gives you a sense of authority with that client too, because there's this home they want in a home they have to sell. And I think if you get in and you really just have a solution to an issue for the builder, that is really all they care about.
It's a really good technique. And I think a lot of agents forget about it because it's sort of like that unforbidden, or that forbidden territory, that, we can't go in there and talk, start marketing ourselves as agents when we're walking into a new build. But no, you don't understand. I mean, they're agents just like you, and they're looking for a solution. They want to sell as many homes as they can. So, so to wrap it up, we say definitely send this. I'm going to get to that bonus, and you're going to love it.
I want to know.
Send short video CMAs to your past clients. It's a very powerful tool. Definitely go after non-owner occupied properties and reach out to the owners. Really, probably should say go after non-owner occupied, homeowners, landlords, basically. Do the door knocking in those tracks where your buyers are missing out, because there's a lot of different techniques. You can either door knock or send out the letters and do things like that Jason was talking about. If you do that, you'll be very surprised at what kind of traction you can get. HomeBot is a great tool. It's not that expensive. You can be using that for $25 a month to really be touching your past clients in a profound way and trigger a lot of sales that way. And then finally, connecting and networking with agents at the new builds. Don't leave that out. It can be a great way. And I know there's probably a lot of other ways to get listings. There's probably 500 ways. If you know of anything that you think we left out, let's have fun discussing it. Leave comments in the discussion boards below, or whether you're listening to us on Facebook, or maybe this is a YouTube scenario. We do respond and we do interact with everyone because we just love helping out. So let's talk about really quick something that's a bonus that I discovered that is super cool. There is a website called Answer the Public. It's free. You can pay for a subscription. But if you want to create all kinds of content for your specific audiences to get more listings, then go to Answer the Public and type in, how to get more listings, or just how to sell my home, how to get top dollar for my house, all these different trigger type things that people are asking, and what it will do. And I can kind of show you how it responds, but the print is so small, you're not going to be able to see it. Take a look at this. Once you go to answerthepublic.com and you put something, you're going to get like this spirally looking. I know, look, you can't read this. I know it's ridiculous. You can't read it, but it is basically just whatever, 20, 30, 40, 50 different suggestions on topics that you can cover to answer the public on those things. Very, very cool tool. And, I strongly recommend you give it a try, especially if you're the kind of person that wants to create some content. You want to be, the knowledge broker in your area, and you want to always have good content rolling, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, email campaigns. Going to Answer the Public is definitely a great place to go. So,
are you answering actual questions from potential homeowners?
Well, so the way Answer the Public is set up.
I'm now the student. I'm learning here. I've never used this. So
if you're listening right now and you can open up another browser and go there, just go there and just type in how to sell my home. and you'll see all these different topics on what you should cover to scratch that question, to scratch that itch.
Nice.
You know, how to sell my home to avoid, taxes, or how to sell my home for the most money and not pay as much, how to sell my home with the least amount of fees, how to sell my home in the shortest amount of time. It's just all these. It gives you so many that you never even thought of.
Yeah,
So
cool.
it's a really cool. And if you look, I typed in random stuff in there. One of the suggestions in there was type in the word chocolate. So I typed in chocolate, and it gave me like 100 different things on what you should do to create content about chocolate.
Wow.
So, it's a cool tool. It's a bonus. It's not one of the 5 ways to get more listings, but it is a great little nugget that you might find valuable, so that you can, get out there and create content. So, anything else, Jason? Are we done here, or?
I'm done.
I'm done too.
Yeah.
Listen, if you guys wouldn't mind, leave comments below if you have any questions for me or Jason. Our emails are in the link below. If you're watching this live, they're not there yet, but they will be. But we really are doing the best we can to provide some actionable content to really help real estate professionals to just do better, and that's what we're passionate about. So, without anything else to say, I think we're done.
Think so.
Catch you guys later. We'll catch you next week.